Now let's talk about creating the highest profit situation. In other words, we want to make sure that we make the most profit possible with the least amount of time, effort, resource, and money spent. But how do you do it? How are you able to manage the expenses and charge the right prices so you can get the highest profit situation? Well, we're going to look at exactly that, exactly how to do that. One, we're going to look at how to establish the best pricing for your product, a price that people would love to pay and they don't have a problem paying, and you can get tons of customers by charging the right price. Then we're going to look at specifically how do you minimize the expense as much as possible without losing value to the customer. In other words, that it's still a high quality product in the mind of your customer, but you're utilizing the least amount of expense possible. Well, first, let's talk about how to establish the best pricing for your product. Now, this is a big question for a lot of people. What do I charge for my product? Now, granted, you can price your product based on what everybody else is pricing. But like I mentioned before, especially on Amazon, if you create enough of a unique brand, then price primarily is based on your selling ability. It's because of a place like Amazon. People go to Amazon to spend more money. They do not mind spending the extra money because they know that it's coming from Amazon because of the experience they're going to have. If you create a valuable brand, a unique brand with a lot of benefits in your product, your customers will be willing to pay more. And but when you look at it from a practical standpoint, what is the goal when you're pricing? Well, you definitely want to get a 100% return on investment or more after all your expenses. I mean, that's actually very common when you're dealing with your own products. Getting a 100% return, meaning whatever you spend on all your expenses to produce that product, you get double the amount back or more. Granted, and this specifically applies more to the lower price products. Higher price products you can get away with less than 100% return on investment. Why? Because you're getting a substantially greater dollar amount in profit. For instance, I could buy a 10-cent cupcake liner, 12 of them, sell them for $10, and I have about 1,000% return almost, right? But still, I'm probably going to make only about $5. All of a sudden, I can sell I don't know, a telescope or I don't know, something of higher value for $300, but then I make a $150 profit on it or $175 profit on it, even though my expense was a little higher for something like that. Let's say I make $100 off of it, and that'll show that my ROI is not 100%, but I made $100 on that versus $5. So you get the picture. Um, Number three, you have to determine if you're going to price high or if you're going to price low. Why do people price high? Because of value. Whenever you price high, people think the value is high, so which works to your benefit. Now, granted, Amazon is known for being that perfect place for that middle ground customer. The one who is willing to spend a little more because of all the comforts that Amazon provides, but still is a little bit budget conscious. Now, granted, budget conscious. But granted, do still people purchase big amounts and splurge on Amazon? Absolutely, they do it all the time. But if you want to get the most customers possible, you have to first determine, are you want to go for those higher value customers, then you focus all your energies on producing the kind of brand and advertising that'll motivate those people, or are you going to have to lower value customer and then just make sure that you focus on them. But if you want to get the highest one, focus on either one. Now, granted, can you focus on the middle ground? Of course you can. Just make sure that you meet their needs specifically, and you'll see that you'll get the bulk of that, the lion's share of that business, even from your competitors. So determine which price direction you're going to go. Do you want to price high for value, or you price low for volume? Granted, if you price higher, you're going to have less sales. You're just going to have a whole lot more profit per sale. If you charge for volume, you're going to do a lot more volume. But again, if you're only getting $5 in profit, you have to sell a substantial lot more to be able to make that $100 versus just that one product, the higher price product. Now, so we're going to go specifically. We're probably going to do an exercise to kind of come up with what's the best pricing on this. We're going to look exactly. It's actually an Excel spreadsheet that I put together how to be able to calculate all your expenses, which is going to be the next thing we're going to talk about, then give you an idea more how much you should be charging. Now, granted, I don't like going by expense. I like going just by value, how much value I can create in the mind of the customer. But at the same time, you have to be wary of your expense, which kind of helps us go into the next part of this. How can we establish the minimum amount of expense without losing value to the customer? And that's when we're going to go through in the next video how to use what I call the Amazon Price Calculator sheet, an Excel sheet that I put together to determine your return on investment. And then you can keep tweaking it, the expenses and the price, until you reach the ideal profit point that you want to do or you want for yourself, and the ideal return on investment or ROI. And then after that, then you know exactly how much money you're able to spend on expenses. Then you can go out and find your high quality sources that'll meet your expense requirements. So the next video, we're going to go, actually the exercise we're going to do for this next video, we're going to go through the process of creating the highest price point for our product, and then calculate and minimize the expenses to see how much of a profit we can generate for our product, so that we can see how much we can sell it for.